Thanks for listening to the American Fork Podcast, Episode 1. American Forked is a podcast by lifetime friends who grew up together in American Fork, Utah. We were all raised in the Mormon faith, but have grown up to have wildly different opinions on religion, politics, and everything in between. We've found that people can have different opinions and still be friends. Check out some of our favorite episodes. Episode 7, The Vast Difference Between Pee and Beer. Episode 8, Pickleball is Great. Episode 9, We Weren't Even Going to Talk About Race. Episode 20, Mission Bromance. Episode 27, July 4th is not only about aliens. And episode 32, The Disneyville Corporation. Here is episode 1, Meet the Forkers.
All right, let's kick it off with something light. New York Times Magazine listed Biden and Kamala Harris as the man and woman of the year.
What magazine?
Well,
Time Magazine.
They listed them
Time.
together as the person of
Correct.
the year.
Yes.
Actually, which is weird.
The they of the year.
Yeah.
They
Quick interjection. Did Trump demand a recount on that on the cover?
I don't think he's responded to that. I think he's upset about Texas right now.
So is that
Okay.
pretty much their way of declaring her the woman
That's
of the
that's
year?
what everybody's saying.
But they can't do it because, of course,
He's
it's
not dead
Biden. Yeah.
It was weird because in 2016 they said that Trump was man of the year, but I don't know why they didn't include Pence. Unless it
I
is
have an
something.
idea.
because nobody cares about Pence.
Yeah, nobody. Pence was very quiet. Always has been very quiet.
Everybody always cares about bright white.
I have an idea on
That was
why
racist.
Biden.
Ew.
Oh, I
have an idea on-
Probably brighter.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So I have an
Go
idea
ahead,
on
Jeff.
why. I have an idea on why Biden is man of the year is because if you look at the country right now, most people are gamers that just hang out in their basement and play video games online.
He does that.
Joe Biden
They look up to
represents
him on
that
that.
group the most because he chills in his basement and doesn't do anything like campaign for presidencies, things like that. And so everyone can really relate to Joe Biden this year. And I think that's
Uncle Joe.
That's wonderful. Uncle Joe. You know me. Come on, man.
Are you
he really-
describing Mike right now? Like, what is the demographic Are you talking about
Really?
millennials?
Most.
Yeah,
Yes.
mostly millennials, excluding us.
I thought you said we weren't millennials, Jeff.
I know that's what I said, excluding us. We're
Gen X.
river.
Yeah, I disagree. I actually take pride in
We're
being called
millennials.
a
Yeah.
millennial.
We're for sure
We're
millennials.
totally millennials.
Yeah.
We are.
But I like whoever said that they are nominated as they of the year because that's the proper pronoun.
You're welcome.
That is funny.
You're welcome.
Was it you or Phil?
It was I.
It was they.
It was.
What's your name?
They said it.
My pronoun is I am a he.
You guys know in the Philippines they don't have gender pronouns. It's just
That's because half the people are transitioning in the Philippines, Phil.
that's true. That is
Phil knows
true.
that. Phil knows that. all
Mike
too
knows
well.
that. Remember, Mike?
So once we get to like 30-40% here in America, we're just gonna change the entire language to be.
Yeah.
What do they use? Is it just like one?
It's just like he, but he means he and she. So you just kind of forget
It's a
about the
general-
gender.
But that's kind
pronoun,
of like America as well.
And it's kind of the same word for
Because
like a
I
dog.
say, hey guys.
like-
when-
Yeah. And we say they.
Well,
meaning-
yeah, but that's kind of slangish.
but they is plural in our language.
No, you can say they singular.
Now you can
Where are they?
because they've
Improper
changed
speech.
No.
English.
No. You
Devin,
can say where are they?
That's improper speech.
I would
Talking
never
about one
say
person.
where is Devin? Where is they?
No,
I would say, where is he?
Where are they? And that's something
can
that's
Phil
always
definitely
been
say
done our
where.
whole lives.
No.
Phil, I'm
Yes.
going to interject here, Phil.
Go ahead.
In the past few podcasts I've listened to, Devin has always been right. So
Yeah,
just let Devin win.
Damn.
By the way, I
Except-
just pulled up Time Magazine, and it is officially Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the person of the year.
Yeah.
That's
The
the
they-
stupidest shit.
They're the they of
Are
the
you?
year.
You're just mad. Not that it's two people, but they changed it to person, or what are you mad about?
Well, it's always been person
Doesn't-
of the year, so they didn't change that.
Oh, okay.
The thing that changed is
I always
the
thought it was
person of
man
the
of the
year
Is two people.
is two people.
It was Man of the Year until 1999, and they changed it to Person.
Do you guys not remember in like 2006 when there was a time Person of the Year was every person?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
It was
I
everyone.
remember that. Yeah, that was.
it was like a mirrored finish, so you like look at it, and it was a picture of you, and it was all about like because YouTube was happening. It was like Internet 2.0. Like this isn't the first time they've done something like this.
Wait, I was man of the year?
Yeah.
Yes, Jeff, you were.
It's unbelievable.
You peaked at 2006.
Where's my
That's
You did.
could be part of your introduction to this in this show.
Anyways, the contestants running for that award was Dr. Fauci. Along with them, he lost.
Dr. Phil?
Frontline workers lost out. Which,
Those losers.
yeah, if it was me voting, that definitely would have been my pick.
So what's the
noble.
prize money for this?
For what?
I need for getting Person of the Year. If there's no prize money, then what's the
Yeah, it's
point?
just kind of
Bragging rights.
The only currency that matters.
Didn't they name
Clout.
that like teenage or 6-year-old girl or something Person of the Year
Greta
last year?
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Van
Thunberg, you got it.
Hodgewidge.
Yeah.
How dare you? That was her thing.
I don't know. I kind of think this is the same because the past like 4 or 5 times that it's been an election year, it's just whoever wins the election that they've made Person or if Person is a plural now of the year.
Wait, so Trump was it in 2016?
Yeah, Trump was it. Obama was it twice.
So he did win
2008
twice.
But
and-
so why-
and 2012.
So the question is, why Kamala this time? Why is she getting added on there? Why not just
just the
Biden or just
first woman
Kamala?
president.
So why not just Kamala?
First woman in the office. I think that actually is a big deal.
That's,
right?
no, it is
Isn't
a
that
big deal. So I'm saying, why both of them? Why not just Kamala?
Are you guys forgetting Michelle?
Michelle
about her?
was the
She
first
was
lady.
not vice
She
president.
was first lady.
Oh, she wasn't?
She wasn't elected to anything.
Phil, how many first ladies have there been? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You're pretty dumb.
All right. With that, let's lead into our first big topic, which is Texas.
Oh,
So, Texas just reported, I think this was like a few hours ago, actually, that they came down and Supreme Court rejected
turned it down.
the suit.
The Supreme Court messed with Texas.
Just to,
And they were
well,
fine.
that was actually 18 states that signed on to it. Ended up being 18 states that signed up to it.
Including you.
For those who don't know, Texas Attorney General filed a case against basically 4 states. The 4 swing states, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and
The other one, Wisconsin.
New California.
New
was
California.
it Wisconsin?
I think
No, it was East California.
Here's a question.
Well, it might have been
Here's a
Arizona
question.
is the thing.
West Dakota.
And so basically the complaint was, from what I've heard or what I understand, the complaint was that the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, was filing this suit basically complaining that in the past year, these states had changed election laws. I believe most of the laws were changed due to COVID to allow more mail-in voting. And they were seeking to basically throw that out because the legislation in these states, according to Ken Paxton, did it illegally.
Violating their own state constitutions, correct?
Correct. So just to read, I'll just intro this and we can go from there. Eric Erickson, who is a conservative blogger, just to give a brief blurb about who he is, where he comes from. He disliked Trump in 2016, voted against him, said, I would never vote for that man. In 2019, he promoted him and endorsed him. Anyways, but he's very much a conservative.
This
very
guy
much,
is just a blogger.
yeah, well, he used to run a conservative media called Red State. I think Red State's still around. I don't know. I don't go onto conservative sites.
So he's a nobody.
Why are you
But
telling us about this guy?
well, he's a somebody.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, this is what he wrote. I thought it was interesting. I'll introduce it like this, and we can go off on the topic from here. Eric Erickson says of the Texas suit, the level of debasement these people have been willing to engage in makes them seem more the ball-gagged gimp from Pulp Fiction, humiliating themselves for their master. They should be ashamed and embarrassed.
Well, that was a well thought out tweet.
Yeah.
So that is Eric Erickson, conservative who voted for Trump.
Oh, I thought you said he
About-
didn't. I thought you said he hated Trump.
He did.
No.
say
History of him is in 2016 disliked Trump.
He didn't like him, but he
In 2020 came around to him.
Oh, he voted for him. Okay.
This was his take,
like 30
and
million
there's
other people.
also been a few different Republican governors and senators who have essentially said this was a very stupid case to begin with, just weak and embarrassing.
I don't understand why people get so worked up about stupid cases. If it's a stupid case, it'll get dropped or thrown out.
But
Which
a
it
stupid
did.
case shouldn't go
Right.
to the Supreme Court, should it?
Well,
This one had to go straight to the Supreme
So
Court,
I-
right? That's what
No.
I
didn't.
thought. That's what the Texas Attorney
so
General was going for. That's what he wanted.
Well, that's what they wanted, because the only thing that can change the election at this point is the Supreme Court. The electors will go in 2 or 3 days and
Right.
vote, but it's already essentially official. They've already contacted everyone and seen who the electors are going to vote for. Biden has
But I thought this
270
case was
electors.
taken
It's over.
by the Texas Attorney General directly to the Supreme Court. Like it didn't
Correct.
hit another. So the Supreme
But
Court
it's-
had to.
But no, it didn't have
That's the
to.
only people that could
Right.
rule on something like this.
because
Right.
it was against
Oh,
states.
It
yeah.
had to go straight to the Supreme Court. They didn't have to hear the case, and obviously they didn't.
It had
They
to be a
decided
federal.
not to.
It had to be a federal
Okay.
case.
But it had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go straight to the Supreme Court first. And
So-
now
and let me tell you why. I believe so. Just scrolling through here through the list of all the lawsuits, none of these. So there is one for Detroit, but I don't think
one
a
for
state.
Detroit, the what?
I don't think a state has been sued so far.
No, in fact, in my research, the last time this happened, where a state sued another state over their election, was in like 1960, and they lost.
So and that's why it has to go. Is what I'm saying is a state
Interstate, yeah.
isn't within its own jurisdiction. It has to be the
Right.
Supreme Court because that's
Right.
the only.
Yeah, no,
people who-
that makes sense. Yeah.
At least that's the angle that this Texas Attorney General was going for. But the
Yeah.
Supreme Court obviously decided we don't need to hear this case.
Wah, 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 wah.
Jake,
Yeah.
your thoughts?
My thoughts on the fact
case,
that they turned
Texas-
it down.
Yeah,
Any of it.
any of it.
It's really cloudy because there's a lot of stuff involving the election and everything. I think that there is a lot to, and I've said it before. I think that there's a lot to the voter fraud issue, but until there's nonpartisan involvement in fixing it, it'll never get fixed.
What do you mean by nonpartisan to fix
Because
it?
right
like
now
basically Republicans are trying to fix it, Democrats.
Yeah,
don't wanna
Republicans
fix it?
are trying to fix it because they lost. And when Obama became president,
But
it
all of
was-
so far, all of the lawsuits that I'm aware of have only been not about securing anything for the future of election security. Everything that they've brought forward is basically, no, we need to overturn the election. Here's some votes that we think should be overturned.
yeah, and
Everything that I understand.
as long as
from
that's the
the court
focus,
cases.
the overturn is because of
But
party.
that would be Republicans being
Is-
partisan.
is-
about
as
losing
long
an
as the
election.
focus is to overturn an election. We're not going to fix the actual problem.
I see what you're saying.
So over the next 4 years until the next election, let's get some
Is
nonpartisan.
there anything specific
legal teams involved and
that
fix
you
the
see
problems?
that's widespread that should be fixed?
Yeah, what's the problem that needs to be fixed?
So
I'm interested in hearing your thoughts.
I think a problem is definitely mail-in voting.
Basically eradicating it or fixing
I mean,
it?
I think it should be limited to people who have to.
So
people
what-
who are away working or are disabled.
So what about Utah and Florida and places that have been doing this for a decade plus, and it's been fine?
I think they shouldn't have
You
ever.
think it should
I actually
stop?
didn't know they were doing it until this year. So, had I known that, I would have marched right into the state capitol and demanded that they take it down.
But what is your reasoning behind that?
Take my vote.
Just because
Well-
you believe it's easy to
No, we
commit
talked
fraud,
about
or-
this before. Is because
There's like more points of
there's more
infiltration.
exactly. There's more points of error in mail-in voting than there are in person when you're
Yeah.
physically putting it in the machine.
I
So-
agree. I think that's probably true. But But even though that's true, there is no evidence that there is widespread voter fraud with mail-in voting.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't think they should be doing it.
Well,
But if there's no
dead people
fraud that's
voting.
being, yeah, but
We
it's
had dead
very,
people voting. We
it's
get people
very
voting
small.
for.
It's a very limited number of people that are
and
actually doing that.
I'm not saying that there's enough of it to overturn the election, but I mean,
Just going forward.
Going forward, like the right to vote is like something that's should be held like really sacred for people.
Sure.
In the United States should be feel lucky to be able to do that. And when we got people like Steven Crowder, you guys know who he is. He's a very right wing talk show host, commentator, and someone else voted for him in a state where Michigan, where he used to be from, because the system is just screwed up. Like when somebody moves, they shouldn't maintain their voting records in where they came from.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of stuff that needs to be ironed out.
So look at it this way. Imagine, this is a little bit of an extreme example, but imagine you walk into a bank and there's just a big table in the middle of the place you walk in. There's no counter, there's nothing back there, and they just have a stack of cash on the table. And you're like, I'd like to make a deposit. They're like, okay, you can put yours in this little square right here. And you're like, well, isn't someone going to steal that? And they say, well, there's actually no evidence anybody's stolen it before. It's all been accounted for. And
That's a really bad example because that's
I'm just going to
extreme.
stop this analogy right now. We do a lot of things through the mail, right?
So it is extreme, but the point I'm making is if something is obviously flawed and obviously prone to common sense errors or things that could happen just by using common sense.
Prone is more, when you're saying prone, people can do it, but
Exactly.
there's no evidence that people are doing it.
But in the same scenario, there's no evidence any of this cash is missing. But okay, well, I'm going to go to that bank where they have a vault. Like, I don't care if you have no evidence. If you have every penny accounted for since
from
the
everything
beginning
that
of time,
I've seen about mail-in voting, the major problem is that people will send it in and it's just not counted
Phil,
because it gets lost.
I think a better analogy with your bank analogy would be you have a bank where you can only go do your transactions in person at the physical bank. You have another bank where you can go online and do your physical transactions. And some people would say, well, online now opens this up to more potential issues, more potential problems. And yeah, I think that's true. Online probably would, but most people would agree it's still worth it to do online. There's not that many extra issues that are introduced. It's very rare for those issues to happen, and the convenience is worth it.
So let me ask you this.
What I would say, though, I would agree with eliminating mail-in voting, but there should be countermeasures to help people vote. Election day should be a holiday. In fact, you should be able to go into a polling place for like a month straight to vote.
So let me ask you this, because we're talking about money. Why don't we send cash through the mail if it's so secure?
We do send
We
checks.
do send cash through the mail.
You do?
Cash and checks, yeah.
Because I was raised to understand that it was extremely insecure to send cash.
Oh, I just got
every company you've ever sent money to has always said don't send cash.
I just got a refund check from American Fork City on my water bill sent through the mail.
In
check.
cash?
Check.
No, I'm saying cash money.
Cash.
You don't send cash through the mail.
Yeah, I think most people don't. I think that's
Right,
true.
because why?
I have literally gotten money in the mail, cash.
Cash money. Bills.
Yeah, I'll
20s.
tell you who it came from. It came from a polling company that wanted me to do a poll.
So again,
We've gone off on Texas and we've gotten into
that's the
security
same I got.
of the election.
For
I would
think-
agree with you that it's less secure.
Right.
Mailing is less secure, but it's good enough, and there's no sign that anything's happening. Your analogy of money on the table is too extreme. It's not that loose of a issue.
I'm not saying it's that loose. I'm saying if one is obviously less secure than the other, why not choose the other? Of course.
Well, the
I have a
reason this
question.
year was because of COVID.
Jeff, you have a question?
I have a question. It has more to do with the original tweet that was read.
Sure.
It talks about being bald and gagged, and I'm wondering if anyone in the BDSM community is offended by that comment.
I don't know. Ask Justin. Beagle, what do you think?
If only we had some.
No, because it depicts
Depends on how
that
big the ball is.
accuracy, right? They're being dominated.
Is it
right?
a tennis ball or like
Yeah,
a?
any-
I don't
ball?
know if I don't know if they're getting
Anybody
off
from
on
the
it.
community,
If they're not
speak
getting
up.
off on it, that would be sad. Because the whole goal is to get off on it, right?
I'm not trying to point out anyone, but anyone that has an opinion on this subject, just speak up.
I am very much into BDSM.
I'm not really saying Beagle or anyone in particular, just anyone. Let's just talk.
I
don't
am
understand
trying to talk right now.
I don't understand.
Oh, wait,
the
there's
question.
only one person and it's Beagle?
Are you asking
already
us
talking.
if we're
Oh, wow.
into BDSM?
So I don't want to
Just putting out the feelers right now to see if
Okay.
anybody else.
Okay, Jeff, I'm willing to experiment. Does that answer your question?
What are you doing next Friday?
this
I
podcast.
may be recording this podcast.
All right, Mike, do you have
Wait.
anything to say on this topic?
Wait, before Mike even talks, I want to go back to this thing about the states suing, because we forgot to bring up that
Well-
we actually got 2 new states out of this whole debacle.
What do
New
you mean?
California and New Nevada.
What do you mean?
Joined the lawsuit to sue all those states.
Yeah, I
What,
did see that.
Republicans from those
So
two
they-
states
yeah, they-
saying they want to...
They separated
This is from
their
Forbes, a
liberal-
group of separatist movements attempting to create a new California state and a new Nevada state filed
I
an
actually have
amicus
things to
brief on
say about
Friday.
this.
Okay, Mike,
Okay,
let's
Mike,
hear it.
hit it.
So, when I lived in California, there is a Northern California movement to create a 51st state, Northern California. North
Yeah, they've been
California,
trying to do
whatever.
that for
There was a
minute.
different name they were putting forward, though. I can't remember what it was.
NorCal
No,
is
no.
what the
It was like the name of
is
a
what
founding
the
father.
shirts are. I don't
thought it
remember
was-
that.
I know,
Texas
they
too.
voted like in either 2016 or 2018. They voted the entire state voted on splitting up the state into 3 separate states.
I can't remember what it's
Did it
called.
pass?
Anyway,
No, the California legislation didn't even bring it up to a vote. They didn't want to deal with
That
it,
makes sense.
which is, in my opinion, it's
Anyway.
very stupid.
So there's some separatist stuff in California already. Although I took it as more kind of an ironic joke. Although Northern California is very different from Southern California. Anyway, I just got lost. in what we
Everywhere
were
is
talking
different
about.
than Los Angeles.
Texas, what do you think about the Texas?
So, final thoughts on
So I
the
think it's.
Texas
I think
suit.
it's. I mean, they're maybe within their rights, kind of to bring it up. It is dumb. I agree with the tweet. It's very strongly worded. It's more strongly worded than I would ever say anything. But I think that Texas trying to impose their will on the voters of the other states, who all those voters voted in good faith, to invalidate all of those results, I think is a bad move for this country. I think it's a bad move for the states that got in on it.
Well, it's weird
And
to
I think-
me as far as like Republicans doing this, because Republicans are so gung ho about states' rights, right? And this is a very anti-states' rights lawsuit.
Well, what's really
so-
weird
so
is
the
Very much.
the argument that they're putting forward why this is not anti-states' rights is because they're saying that if there is fraudulent activity that's taken place to make it so that Pennsylvania and these
Their
other
votes
states,
eradicated.
yeah, then you're getting a president for Texas that
But
Texas wouldn't have had if those states. So you are affecting the people of
But
Texas.
that's the same argument you could make against the Electoral College. The exact same argument.
Well, no, because in
Seven-
normal cases,
in
nothing
North
illegal is
Dakota
happening.
and North Dakota, but that's the argument for states' rights, right? North Dakota, South Dakota, it's like 7 votes to 1 for a person in California, right? It's their votes are invalidating
Except
those
for that's
California
legal.
votes.
Right? This is
But
Texas.
this
in
has just
case.
been ruled legal.
Well, no,
So it's
Texas in this
essentially-
case is saying that there is fraudulent votes.
Well,
right?
no, they're not saying that. No, the argument is that
that's
the,
not what this is about.
the legislation in that state changed the rules and that they did it illegally.
I thought they were saying both.
Are we
So-
I thought both things were
so the
part of
Texas lawsuit doesn't have anything to do with all the
Doesn't
fraud
have to do with
stuff.
fraud.
It's
They didn't
it's
mention
just,
any fraud whatsoever.
It's surprising because it's actually the same lawsuit
I think
that
it
Trump
is.
was already doing
I
before.
thought it was both.
They are related because they're saying, aren't they saying that
What they're
that the
saying is
states-
that the legislation did
That's
it.
part
the
of it, but I
individual
think they're
the
mentioning the
individual
fraud as well.
states are not following the election laws, and those election laws were intertwined in all of these lawsuits.
So I think we have a consensus as far as like the Texas thing to begin with was kind of started stupidly, that we all agree was kind of a trivial, stupid, long shot.
It was a long shot.
I was
for sure.
surprised they did, and the Texas Attorney General being investigated actually makes it all
For
seem a
7
lot more
years.
sense or something.
Yeah, I've heard that he's vying for a pardon.
But what doesn't make sense is that
But
that
on
makes
that
sense he
topic-
would
So's the
do that.
Tiger
But
King.
why
He's
did all
trying to
these
get
other
pardoned.
states join? That's what was weird to me.
Well, it's the same thing.
Do
I
you guys
think
know what
I
that
think
actually
there's a
means,
lot of
by the way?
push.
What does it mean that these other states joined this lawsuit?
So when you join
Did they
a
just
lawsuit,
sign a petition that said we agree, do it?
I thought
So-
that they just backed or supported it. I
They
thought
just
that's
said
all
we
they were
agree.
doing.
no. So there was one I was looking with Michigan, and it was the Republican Party suing one individual who I think was the county clerk or whatever, because they wanted them to recount something in a certain way. Well, the Democratic Party entered the lawsuit. They filed I forget the name of the briefing, but they can pretty much say, hey, we're joining in on this. So the Republicans are suing this guy, but we want it also to be that the Republicans are suing us too. So you can actually join a lawsuit.
You can join
in that
lawsuits.
way.
Yep.
So that's what they're doing. They're pretty much saying, hey, not only is this guy suing, but we're suing. We're on his side. So whatever judgment goes one way or the other, we're all going to benefit or have not benefited in the same way. So that's what that means.
And I think a lot of the signing on to it is basically just, hey, Trump supporters, we're with you, we're fighting. Please vote for us.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I'm not sure if that's
it's-
going to work.
It's partisan. Is not going to go
with
anywhere.
I was gonna ask
supporters,
what you
but
guys
that
think.
horse-
I think
mean,
that's what the goal
That's
was.
18 states attorney generals who signed on to this thing without having any evidence or really what does that
It's
actually
kind of-
mean? These
In
were
my
like-
opinion, it's scary. It's weird.
I know you.
It's
I know
weird, yeah.
Herbert didn't support it.
Yeah, but the AG in Utah did.
That's
Oh,
Sean,
did
because,
he?
Sean
Sean
Reyes.
Reyes did.
signed
that's
on
because
to it.
he's trying to
He's a lame duck.
get all those kids kidnapped again.
Who?
Isn't he the same guy?
Sean Reyes.
Isn't he the same guy that in the documentary went down with the other dude to Haiti to free
Sean
all the
Reyes did.
yeah.
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 He went down with
I'm
OUR.
so
to-
bummed that Greg Scortis didn't win the Attorney General.
Yeah,
Greg Scortis would be awesome.
Who's that?
I've worked with him.
By the way, Jake, I saw an article today about OUR. How do they say it?
OUR.
Oh, you are.
Say the letters. Anyways, it was a Vice article about the accusations that have been coming out against
Just recently?
OUR, yeah.
So, oh yeah, up until a few days ago, the only thing that was online was from early October.
So was there actually an investigation?
There is an investigation
There is, yeah.
that it said in the Vice article, but it also said that they couldn't get any information on it. So all they know is that there is an investigation, and it essentially was just stuff like they're exaggerating their claims to convince people to donate more.
Yeah, that's
That was the
essentially
main
what
gist.
Lynn
Yeah,
Packer
that's
was saying
that's
in
the
Mormon
the
Stories.
majority of what I've heard as
Yeah.
far as complaints.
Yeah,
See, I
the
don't
only
even
thing
know
I
why
knew was
that's-
there were accusations.
I don't even know
And
why that's
it.
a problem.
It
at
was
all.
stuff like there was some girl.
Well, if you're lying about what you're doing as a charity,
If you're
Well, they're not
lying,
lying. They're
but-
just not
Well,
100%.
No, well,
transparent.
according to this
But
Vice
that's a
article,
lie.
they're lying. There's this girl who escaped completely on her own from sex slavery, essentially.
Yeah.
But
and they
completely on
stole
her own.
her story.
And they stole her story and said
What
we helped
the
her
hell?
get out.
Huh.
And there was a few other things like that they mentioned where they said this is just a straight up
See,
lie.
if you're just exaggerating, we saved 10 people when really saved 5, it's okay, whatever.
Well, even
but if
that,
you
that's
steal somebody's story of escape, more screw you.
I don't even
and this
care.
is Vice.
that's
This
my
is just
opinion.
one article I read on Vice.
I
so
don't even
know,
care if
but-
they do that. If they're saving kids,
don't stop doing what you're doing, but I'm not going to fund you if you're stealing other
I
people's
would.
I would, and I do.
If they were gambling away half of it, I would still fund them because that's a more worthy cause than pretty much anything you could put money.
But there's
into.
other causes.
Not as good as saving
Like
children
no,
from
like
sex
whales?
slavery.
Literally same causes doing the exact same work that might not gamble.
Like
away
what?
half
But
of
Are there
yeah,
any other
but
ones?
Not stealing stories. Yeah.
Like
I don't
which
even know if any
ones?
of this is true.
Which one, Mike? Remember the Window Foundation that you started and now it isn't anymore?
It is defunct. That is true.
Yeah, so there aren't anymore.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
there's
say, are
other,
there?
there's other groups.
I didn't know where you were going with that for a minute. I thought you were gonna.
Nobody else likes children. That was it.
There we go.
All right, that's a good segue. Nobody likes children into.
Everybody likes.
Actually,
children.
I did want to do
Pedophilia.
one final thing, a quick blurb, a compliment to Trump. Actually,
Oh,
Weird.
Morocco?
Morocco?
Everyone?
Hold
Oh,
on. Let
yeah,
me get
no.
comfortable. Let me get comfortable.
Do it.
Go, Beagle.
All right, we're
This
ready.
is going to be the best
Are you
thing
sitting? Are you
of
sitting
your night.
down, Jeff?
I'm like ready to.
It's honestly not even that big of a deal. But
I
I
change my
down.
background.
He's not as orange anymore. That's my compliment.
I saw recently of the numbers of people presidents have pardoned in their time in office.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, it ranges from like 700 people to 1,000
Per 4-year term?
for just president, right? They were just listing as president, right?
700 to 1,000?
Correct.
seems like a lot of
Obama
people.
did.
Yeah, that's a ton.
Obama did, I believe, somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000.
In
Holy
8
crap.
years.
FDR did like 3,000 to
Well,
4,000
he
or
was
something like
president
that.
for like, what?
16 years.
16 years? Is that
Still
what it was?
Something, 3
Trump
term.
Trump is in like 50, something like that.
50.
50 pardons.
50.
So that's good.
So
Which
That's
just proves how
I
bad of a
I do
person
not
he is.
like some of the people he's pardoned, but I like that.
So
Oh,
I know, coming from somebody, I know, Beagle, you've talked about, been very passionate about people being wrongfully accused of things and put into jail for
Just the justice system.
the
is
justice
broken.
system, being broken and people being incarcerated for, basically, I think you've said that prisons are overloaded.
Yeah.
Obviously they are. So why are you so against pardoning?
No,
as a
the thing is, so why I'm against or why I support less pardoning. I should say.
Why would you? Yeah.
Why I view that as a good thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're pardoning like 2,000 to 4,000 people, to me, that basically means you agree that if there's 4,000 people you can pardon, either you're pardoning criminals who belong in jail, but they just know you and they actually belong in jail, or you're pardoning people because the system is broken and you recognize that, but you're only going to let people out who are not dangerous.
So changing the
But
system.
in both ways, somebody elite, they're helping you. If you're helping 4,000 people, just write a goddamn law, change the justice system, and affect everyone else. Because there's many thousands
Well, the
of more
president-
people
the president doesn't
who
write
were
laws,
not
but I see what you're
pardoned,
saying.
who are rotting in prison right now for the same thing that these people were pardoned for.
Yeah.
And so if
support a
you're
lot.
pardoning that many people, thousands of people, you either have to recognize that there's a problem in the system and you should push to change the system so
Right.
all of these people aren't in prison, or 4,000 just hardcore criminals.
Yeah.
and that's just weird.
I'm not
Buddies.
saying that I support one way or the other. It's just
Right.
Let's
I
talk
just
about,
think it
should
shouldn't
we-
be a unilateral thing, right? Like there shouldn't just be one person who can make this decision. Laws
For a
should
pardon?
laws should be changed, and if there's bad reasons that these people were put in jail and reasons they should be pardoned,
I
then
think
laws should be changed, and it shouldn't be unilateral.
Well,
I
maybe
agree
Tiger
with you
King
to an
will be
extent.
51
I think
for
that
him.
I think the president should be allowed to pardon. I think that there should be, if they pardon somebody, I think that the Senate or
Maybe
the House
checks.
can come in and say,
Some checks,
no,
just like
actually,
everything
we're going
Why?
to vote
Why-
on this.
Why
and
should
we're gonna
one
say
person have that ability? Just one.
It would be
person?
nice if they had checks.
because they're
just
the
like
law of the
everything
land.
else.
Just to check, yeah.
I'd like a check.
Anyways, Mike had
Yeah.
something to say on this.
So if you're just talking Obama versus Trump on this, because I've actually read about this quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
Obama pardoned a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time.
So he
it was,
pardoned 212 people.
Who?
But then 1,700 commutations.
212 Obama?
1,715 commutations as well.
Okay. I'm combining the two. They're not exactly the same. That's true. So,
But yeah, go ahead.
you have that. Almost every single one of those, as far as I know, was like recommendations from the Justice Department, like this person isn't here, shouldn't be. I agree with you, Beagle, on maybe let's take a look at the laws. I think Obama did some of that, but
Yeah.
I
sure.
also think Trump has done some of that. But as far as Trump's go, where there's 50 of them, haven't most of them been like his friends or business associates? Is that accurate?
So
I don't know if
28
Several
most.
of
Not
them have.
probably-
I know
we don't know if
Flynn,
most,
Flynn
but
was
there have
definitely
been
a friend.
3 or 4.
Because
I
Obama
think.
didn't know any of the people that he
Oh, did he not?
commuted.
Yeah,
you
I
know
know
that
that
for sure, Mike?
Bill Clinton
I'm
pardoned.
pretty sure.
Bill Clinton either pardoned his brother or his cousin, which in my opinion is like I said, that just points to like, you know, somebody who's elite, who can help you.
Yeah.
And so it just doesn't matter whether you do something illegal or not. And that's BS. And then FDR, I know somebody, he pardoned somebody close to him, but that's at least good for me to know that Obama, it wasn't personal for him, right?
Yeah, he did. Trump did pardon Susan B. Anthony, so that was a good thing.
Who is that?
Hey, there you go.
She was the one that went to
She's
jail
on the
for.
dollar.
Yeah, she went to, obviously long gone and dead, but
Right.
she
I
was
do remember
a
that.
women's rights activist.
Yes.
So, Mike, I'm looking at the pardons, and I'm not seeing, other than Michael Flynn, I don't recognize any of these people.
We look at the commutations.
Well, they
as
did
well.
commutations of Roger Stone.
Yeah, Roger Stone.
That's
I
really
think there's a
that
few-
all I can think of. I know Papadopoulos or
So-
whatever his name is.
So I'm just refuting
He
your
served
claim,
his time.
Mike, that
It was
That's
only
fine.
like a month.
the majority
I
of
don't
them.
even have a computer in front of me.
I think it's
Besides
probably
the one
not
I'm
fair to
holding in my
say
hand.
that most of them were people that
Yeah, I
were
don't
his
think
friends.
most. He's definitely done
There are
quite
three
a
or
few.
four that we've discussed here
Yeah.
that are.
So
Which, like I said,
personal
I mean, it's
acquaintances
in my opinion, it's
Will you
BS
scroll
that Clinton
down, Phil?
did something for his brother or his cousin.
Dinesh
I would say
D'Souza.
the exact same for
What did he pardon Dinesh D'Souza
Well,
for?
Dinesh D'Souza already served his time, but
Was it
he
campaign
basically was
violation?
just like, I don't know if that just eliminates his record.
no, he
of
got.
it.
Halfway house.
Campaign
Season
finance
I wanna
violation.
yeah.
He was pardoned for campaign finance
So
violations.
didn't he also pardon Blogovich?
Blagojevich?
Trump did. I think Trump did do that in the
Blagojevich,
beginning
yeah,
of
he
his
did.
term.
I'm not.
Who is that?
He was the
Rod-
Democratic mayor of.
Do a search for.
You got to
Rod
look in the
on that screen.
commutations as well, Phil.
Yeah, maybe it was commuted because I'm not seeing.
Mike, who is that?
There it is.
He was
So he's commuted.
put into jail for corruption in his state of Indiana, I
For
believe.
wire fraud, conspiracy attempt.
Why was he pardoned?
Because Trump said, "Oh, I think the media was hard on him," and pardoned him.
Okay.
So it sounds like he was his buddy, or that's what that sounds like to me.
Maybe.
The media was mean to him, so we should just forgive him. We should forgive
CNN
pedophiles
it was-
because media is
I
just
think-
CNN tweeted
really
something
mean.
bad about him, so I pardoned
So
him.
I definitely think there's some media. We've definitely in the last few years got into this mob mentality where the media kind of decides who to go after and.
Well,
who
I
should
mean,
be
isn't the
prosecuted.
Texas thing kind of that anyway? It's
Yeah, I think
this mob-
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
both sides,
It's- yeah.
Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Is we've gotten to this thing where like now it's not like a prosecutor gets something to their desk. It's like now a prosecutor gets a bunch of tweets from people that like, oh, aren't you looking at this New York Times article? Like, and that's how they're like.
How is that much different from before?
Because before police officers would bring evidence to prosecutors, and
no,
that's how
there was always like yellow journalism. I mean, as a Mormon, you should know about that.
what does that mean?
You don't know what yellow journal?
No,
You didn't
and I
like
don't know why it applies to me.
Devin? Do you know what yellow journalism is?
Attacking people in ads.
Oh,
No,
frivolously.
Mike, do you know?
Why don't you tell us what it is?
I am in a room with a bunch of Mormons and ex-Mormons, and you don't know what yellow.
I don't know the.
This was like hammered into my head when I was studying. It's lies, putting out lies to invoke hatred and to mob mentality, push them out of a state, or to incite a lot of anger and violence towards a group of
Okay,
people.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
How's that related
That-
to Mormonism?
well, because that's what happened.
that's what happened to Mormons in Nauvoo.
Through
Sort of.
newspapers?
Basically, this is what's always happened, right? Like this has always just been a thing of mob mentality, right?
Yeah,
It's always
the thing.
existed.
And
The Warsaw
as a
Signal.
star in the Broadway musical Newsies, we should all know about this.
Yeah, we did star in Newsies.
I have not even seen that film.
Probably our.
And that's actually a good segue into the next topic, which is Christmas movies,
Our favorite documentaries.
which we're going to start off by asking a pretty simple question. Well, it's hard though. What
she
is
said.
your favorite
Title of your next sex tape.
Hallmark Christmas movie?
Hallmark. I don't
Hallmark?
know any
I don't even
Hallmark
know
Christmas
Hallmark.
movie names.
I just want to point
Oh
out.
my God, you guys are nobody here knows
I've seen
what
a
Hallmark.
few. I've seen
Oh,
a
I
few,
know
you've
what
but
they
seen a
are.
few.
Yeah,
I
I've
just
seen
can't
I
them.
know
remember
what they
any
are,
names.
but I can't name.
They're not
any.
like
Yeah.
big enough to where I show my kids them.
These are not things that like were a big part of my life. I just know they exist.
Of course not.
you
These are
guys-
stupid movies for old people.
Well, then why would we remember the titles?
It's a joke.
Do you guys remember?
There's no such thing as a favorite Hallmark movie. They should all be burned in hell.
They all have the same name.
Oh.
When Harry Met Sally.
Answer question answered. You guys know that when we were in Newsies, that I guarantee we didn't have the rights to that, right? We stole that from
No,
Disney.
we got them.
Oh, I'm
Did we?
sure they got.
We had the rights.
high
I
school's
remember
always.
specifically.
Karen
Disney
did
owns
say
the rights?
that she worked
Yeah.
hard to get them.
It's a Disney.
We were the
'cause
first-
She told
so-
me on a different one we did that we definitely didn't have the rights.
So for
we
the
needed to
record,
hurry and do it.
for the record, part of being American Forked is being familiar with the fact that, at least according to Karen, we were in the
Registered.
first stage performance of Newsies
In the universe.
Ever?
ever.
That's what she
That's
claimed.
what she said.
We
yeah.
ours was in middle school, American Fork Junior High. Ours was the first stage
I
performance of
mean,
Newsies.
how credible is this source? Didn't she like rape
We
some
have an
people?
expert. We have an expert on the
Okay.
podcast with us about this.
Jeff,
That's
you would
true.
know.
Jeff,
Tell
Yeah,
me.
let me tell you, Karen was full of crap. She said that she knew a guy from Buena Vista, which is a legitimate.
Disney's
Disney company. yeah.
publishing company.
Yep. And yeah, she used to speak very oddly. She's
Oh, gross.
Oh.
so it's all legit.
Well,
it's all legit.
Let's not explain that and let's move on.
Well,
Well, that sounds legit though. Actually,
Anyway, I didn't want to
Um,
derail our Christmas movies. I just wanted to point that out.
so not
Yeah.
best Hallmark Christmas movie, but best favorite Christmas movie. Is that what we're?
my kids are like in love right now with that Netflix Grinch Benedict Cumberbatch, the new
Mine are
the
too.
newest one.
Mine love it.
The latest
And
animated.
I'm not gonna
Grinch?
lie, I love it too. It's
It's
pretty
really
Pretty
good.
good, yeah.
It's pretty fun.
My family watches the Kurt Russell Santa Claus.
Oh, I haven't even watched that.
Yeah, they have
I
two.
know
They have
Christmas
two
And
of
now
them.
my
Chronicles.
daughter, when she sees Santa, she's
Yeah,
like,
Christmas Chronicles.
Santa's not fat.
So when you show her like
He's good looking.
Yeah. He's a,
Escape from
he's a
Chinatown
fox.
or whatever, or like the Hateful Eight, how are you gonna explain that? That's
Kurt
Santa Claus
Russell?
is a little bit violent sometimes.
Oh, well, Kurt Russell has been in more than just the Hateful Eight. Don't you remember
Well, I know.
Stargate?
So
Hello.
that's yours, Beagle. The new
Well,
animated Grinch.
that's what my kids is.
What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Probably the Family Stone. It's
No.
It's a drama.
No,
It's,
it's Elf, Beagle. Everyone's
I mean-
favorite Christmas
Phil.
movie.
Elf
Okay,
is-
so
Elf
Elf,
is up
Phil's
there.
Elf, Devin Elf.
Everybody's Elf.
I
Or
don't
Jim
know.
Carrey's
I do
Elf.
love
That's
that.
number
For
one.
me, it's either Elf or
Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Can't think of the name. You don't really like it.
the Jim Carrey's Grinch. Yeah,
honestly, all
That's
three
actually-
Grinches I think are brilliant, and I watched.
Well, the original Grinch
Dr.
was
Seuss is
amazing.
freaking brilliant. And
I
just
might
don't
go
think you
buddy-
can even.
Old school and say It's a Wonderful Life.
Muppets Christmas Carol. Was
It's a
good,
Wonderful
too.
Life is probably like one of the movies that repeatedly makes me like choke up a little bit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I can't even get through that movie.
really?
Not that it's bad. It's just super old. And
It's just such a
super boring.
classic
Slow moving.
style
Well-
of like acting and talent. Like people were
They are
so
talented.
talented.
You know,
back
That's
then.
true.
You know, it's black and white, right?
We
but
do
there's
know
a
that.
colored.
Yeah, I do at least.
There's a
Yeah.
colored version, Jeff.
Jeff, what's your favorite?
Christmas Vacation.
Chevy
That's a
Chase.
good one.
Oh yeah, by far. Shitter's full.
Honestly, I hate that movie.
Mike?
Oh man.
Mike, what's
I can
yours?
quote it all day
Mike,
long.
it's not
Hey, I
which
wanna-
is our worst, least, most hated favorite.
So
What
I
is your
want to
favorite?
point out next time you guys are watching that, because I guarantee you're going to watch it again in your lifetime. Christmas Vacation. So Chevy Chase feels bad for his brother or his brother-in-law. Takes him shopping. Right. Watch the guy's crotch while he's shopping.
Why
He's got
are you
a
watching this
raging
guy's
boner.
crotch?
I'm not explaining
It's the pleat
that
in the
part, but I'm
pants.
just saying, please do it.
the
He's got a
pants.
raging boner the whole time he's shopping. It's
Wait,
hilarious.
who has it? The cashier or
No, it's Chevy Chase's brother-in-law.
Randy Quinn? Or
Yeah, the one where his
Randy
shitter's full.
Quaid.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
okay.
So is that why it's your favorite, Jeff?
No. There's
Mike.
lots of reasons I like the movie.
Mike, what's your favorite?
I actually have a 3-parter answer to this.
No, that's not allowed.
The
Home
Lord
Alone.
is the
I'll
Rings.
allow it.
Home
Go ahead,
Alone.
Mike.
Home
Okay,
Alone is
okay. I
good.
have 3 favorites then.
Yeah.
Home Alone.
Home Alone tied with Muppet Christmas Carol.
Ooh, Muppet
I
Christmas Carol
haven't
is
even watched
good.
that. I've never seen that. I need to
We
watch
watched.
that.
I watched it tonight.
You must.
Marley
It's
and
great.
Marley.
So
Ooh.
I have a future favorite Christmas movie that I haven't seen yet. I've only seen the trailer. It's called Fat Man with Mel Gibson.
I haven't
it's
seen it.
out. It
I heard
looks
it's
funny,
a
but
lot of
also
mixed
not
reviews on
funny.
that.
I don't. I want to watch it.
I heard it was
I want
crappy,
to see
and
it.
he did amazing.
Wait, I thought that
Campy
was
or crappy?
I've heard it was a crappy movie, but he did awesome.
Mel
Mel
Gibson.
Gibson.
What's it called?
Fat Man.
Fat Man. It's
Fat
about
Man.
a hitman who wants to take
But
out
yeah,
Santa
Muppet-
and Santa.
Muppet
little
Christmas
boy
Carol is also really
a
good.
rich little boy gets a piece of coal and he hires an assassin to kill Santa, and Mel Gibson is Santa.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
wasn't
while we're on this
Passion of the
topic,
Christ too?
yeah, when wasn't that supposed to come
Passion of the
out?
Christ too?
I heard about that like
Oh,
10
there
years
really
ago.
is a second one
It's-
coming out.
there was
That's not a
supposed
joke?
to be.
You're not listening.
Is that because we're talking about Mel Gibson?
But anyways, have you guys watched the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer recently? The cartoon?
The
Like
claymation.
the
I'm
Stop
trying.
motion.
The
Stop
only
motion,
place you can
whatever.
see it online is
Santa
on
is
Voodoo.
an asshole.
Yeah, he is a jerk.
He is
It's
a
jerk.
true.
I didn't notice that as a kid, but yeah,
Who?
raging
Santa
asshole.
on the Rudolph.
By
claymation.
asshole, if you mean
Oh.
really good executive. he's got to keep those elves
He definitely
in line.
he does get stuff done for sure.
So I was just watching the making of Elf on that Netflix show that came out, and they
The
were.
holiday movies that made us.
Ew, Mike.
Mike,
Stop.
Are you
Thanks.
you went crazy, Mike.
using your
Um,
toothbrush on your microphone?
And they were talking about how the guys at Elf, they pretty much like totally ripped off that whole Rudolph thing. Like they were like watching the old movies and like, let's make the snowman
oh
like
yeah.
this and this.
Oh yeah.
and,
It's you
and
can
then they
tell.
ran
it's-
into some legal. Mike.
Michael, dear Lord,
Are you saying
What's
it's right
happening?
now, Beagle?
do we need to perform an exorcism?
Mike's.
I was trying to think.
Mike. We need to get a priest in here now.
Electronic farts.
We need the body of Christ, the blood of Christ. We need all
All the
aspects of
bones,
Christ.
all of it.
The personality of Christ.
Sticking on the
How's this? Is this
entertainment.
better? Is this
Yes,
better? Yeah.
much better.
Yeah.
Sticking
I'm
on the
sorry, guys.
entertainment thing, Star Wars fans, there was a release of like 15 new series for Star Wars.
On Disney Plus.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
10.
I don't know if it's
Ahsoka's
15, but
getting
there's
a
lot.
series.
Yeah.
Lando's getting a
Wait,
series.
they released
Obi-Wan.
them or they're
No,
They're
they're-
bringing what's his name back to play Darth Vader, Hayden Christensen.
Yep.
Are they really?
on
Yeah.
Obi-Wan series?
I was
yeah.
actually really disappointed they didn't bring him back in.
See the one from the.
One
Ryan Johnson
Jedi.
wanted to bring him
On the
back in The
original
Last
2 or 3,
Jedi to
yeah.
do like a thing, but yeah.
I thought when it
But
was
wait.
like the rise of Skywalker, he was going to fall over the cliff, and then Hayden Christensen was going to come up as Darth Vader and kick
I
freaking
killed them all.
Palpatine's butt right out of the
That would have been
sky.
cool,
I
actually.
know. Would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, Phil. Spoiler alert, but you know that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker's dad, right?
Uh,
Jeff,
How many drinks are you in, buddy? I'm on my second. And I'm feeling pretty good. Devin?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jar Jar Binks. It's
first.
Jar Jar Binks' dad.
or Jar Jar.
Are we gonna
If
talk
Jar
about
no,
Jar,
we're not
Jar
going to
Jar?
talk about Darth Jar Jar.
if Jar
No,
Jar,
but it's
No,
real.
Darth Jar Jar.
If Jar Jar comes back as a Sith, greatest move
yeah.
ever.
Honestly, I think that there is a lot of truth to that
That's
conspiracy.
what he wanted.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
He
do.
should have done
I
it.
do
He,
believe
I
that.
think he's
he
a bum.
totally
He
got, what's the word when
We
you
are
like
gonna talk
power
about
to
it. Yes.
Facebook?
No, we're not going to talk about it.
Is
Let's
there
make up a
more to
word
that?
for it right now.
Joke's on
Let's
you.
call him a boom.
I
Jar Jar
I
is
do
my
not
favorite
get into
Jedi.
conspiracy theories, but after listening to the evidence of that, there is no other reason that I can think up why George Lucas would have that douchey guy.
Jar Jar's eyes are a very compelling argument as well. There's a ton of scenes where you look at Jar Jar's eyes and they're exactly like Darth Sidious's eyes when he gets all.
I haven't
Force
deep
crazy.
dived into it that much, but-
conversation.
Okay, let's talk about the shows that are coming in the
Yeah,
future,
yeah.
though.
So-
I have things to say.
Just to lead into it.
There's
so
a Star Wars
I,
holiday special
I
Lego
am-
movie.
My kids love it.
Mine. do
I
as well.
am not that much into Mandalorian. It's an all right series.
I think
It's
it's really
definitely
well
picking
done.
up on the second season. In the first season, it's kind of the same. It starts off slow and it kind of picks up toward the end. But mostly, in my opinion, it's kind of irrelevant. But my father-in-law,
Are you caught up?
not today.
You didn't see the lightsaber fight?
The new one dropped today.
A new one dropped
the last
today.
two
I
I
have
didn't
not
see the one
seen it.
today either.
I missed the
Let's
last
not
two.
spoil it.
Don't.
Right.
I didn't see the
It's way
days.
too soon to talk about it.
So, anyways, my father-in-law, huge Star Wars fan, loves Mandalorian. And anyways, I was
big?
talking to him the other day, and I think the reason why I don't like it as much is because I'm not like huge into the lore of Star Wars. I didn't know who Ahsoka was. Like I knew kind of who she was just because of my father-in-law.
Sounds
I
like a
talked
you
about him
problem,
in the
Miko.
Star Wars.
Is she
clone.
from the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Or the Clone
This is
Attack
the
of
one
the
with
Clones?
the
Or
Yeah.
fish
And
thing.
so
Yeah.
the reason I'm putting this out is because I realized in talking to him, I think the reason why I don't like it is because it is more meant for like the diehard fans. So putting that out to Mike and Devin and anyone else, I don't know who's like huge into Star Wars, but do you guys love Mandalorian?
So I didn't know who that
I
fish
love
lady
Mandalorian.
was, but
Okay.
I really liked the episode that she was in, and I really like.
Yeah.
I didn't like the first season. Like I struggled to start the second season, but the second season I think has been really good. Like
I love the
entertaining.
soundtrack of it.
The
Yeah.
music
The
is
music is good.
It's like
my
space
favorite part.
western.
I honestly think the listening to the music and watching the artwork at the end of the episode
Yep.
is the best part.
Are we going to get sued for talking
Okay,
about
Mike.
mentioning Star Wars? On
Any
I don't
anything
care.
related to Disney, because we already actually mentioned the word Newsies. So
Can't we just like poke fun of it and then it's a parody or something?
yeah,
Not
but they'll
fair.
still
you can
sue.
talk about
They'll
it.
still sue.
we can
you.
talk about Newsies because we got the rights
Disney-
to perform
Is it
the
fair use?
stage performance of it.
We can talk about
Disney
it.
is notorious for suing
Ma-
everyone. It
Mandal-
doesn't matter.
But they'll sue us
Listen-
if we use a clip, not if we just talk about
Oh,
it.
they'll sue you.
That's
I
weird.
promise.
Mandalorian looks like they're going to brand that as a dildo and sell that.
The
And
Mando,
I think that would sell as like a toy.
the
right?
Mando sex toy,
Now that
What?
we've made
What
a
is happening?
joke about the Mandalorian, they cannot sue us.
right? Because we're just joking about
That
it.
was a joke.
Are you talking about
Maybe
the
it didn't
Oh,
land well.
yeah.
Do you
I
guys
forgot-
not understand the joke? A
I get it,
vibrator.
yeah.
They brand a lot of
Yeah.
like toys and stuff.
I forgot about
And you
that
can't-
law where you can do anything you want as long as you say a joke as part of it.
Right. Correct.
Well,
Yes.
Got it.
he's saying
Mike.
Or just say just kidding.
he's saying parody or commentary are a way to get around copyright. But the problem
But
with
we're not
Disney
breaking
is they
copyright.
will sue you and say they're just pretending to do a parody or this or that because what they're really doing is using our brand to increase their show. And that's what they're going to
They
sue.
are a
on.
and
large
that is
organization.
exactly
There's nothing
what we
illegal
are
about
doing.
talking
They're a very
about it.
large organization, and that is scary because they
they're
can pretty much do
100%
whatever they want.
right.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your thoughts, buddy?
So here's I haven't watched the second season of Mandalorian at all.
What?
That's weird.
Weird.
Didn't you say that you love it?
I love it.
You're just
Here's
waiting
the
to.
reason. This is a conscious decision that
He
I've
wants to
made.
binge all of them.
So I knew that Ahsoka was going to be in it, and I haven't watched the Clone Wars, and I want to watch the whole series before I watch season 2 of Mandalorian.
Yeah, I haven't seen the
I'm
Clone Wars at all.
super
So.
I love the character idea of Ahsoka because she's a Jedi that was Anakin Skywalker's apprentice, and then decided to leave the Jedi Order.
Did they go into that at all in the prequels?
No, she's not in the prequels. She's only in the Clone Wars.
Right, that's why I was asking.
show.
They break from that story a little bit in Mandalorian, by the way, Mike.
Okay, I'll find
Guy,
out.
we're teasing spoilers here. Let's not.
So,
But you, as a huge fan, you love it.
I love Mandalorian. Yeah. I love Westerns and I love Star Wars, and putting them together makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was I think they did a great job.
I don't know.
I
To
agree,
me,
Mike.
it's not a western though. It has like the visuals of a western or
The
whatever.
soundtrack is like space western,
But it's not like
perfect mesh
you,
between.
you,
The
you don't watch a
mining
western where they
town
just go
episode.
on like a bunch of like mini missions for people that are random.
The
like-
Mining Town episode is 100% a Western.
with the
It's
tremor
just
thing.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
though.
that's pretty
To
cool.
me, it's not.
100% a Western.
It's just not.
That's
a western.
when little baby Yoda.
Yeah,
that
releases-
is nothing like Unforgiven. That's nothing like.
Well, it might not be like an exact Western.
But
that
that's what
you're
I'm saying, like,
referencing, but it's like a
it's-
Western in
No,
general.
it's totally a Western. I agree.
Uh-oh.
Jeff, what do you like, or do you not like it? or do you
No, I
love?
love it. I haven't seen the last couple episodes, but I love it so much. I gotta be honest with you. When I first was hearing, hashtag spoiler alert right here. But when I was first hearing Yoda's name, Baby Yoda,
Yeah, it's weird.
I thought it was Grover from Sesame Street, and I was like, wait a second, is Yoda
Sesame Street's gonna
Grover?
sue.
Grover,
Which
from
is
Sesame Street.
probably owned by Disney. Pretty sure
I
they
was
own that.
actually worried about the crossover there.
No, it's
but I guess
well,
it
it's
doesn't
HBO.
exist.
What's HBO?
So
No, no,
Warner-
Sesame
Warner
Street's on
owns it.
HBO. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if they're owned, but I don't think they're owned by HBO, are they?
But it got
Warner.
me thinking real quick. I don't know.
So
Big
not
Bird.
Disney.
I think that Big Bird would be a pretty good contestant for the Mandalorian as far as fighting skills and height and size.
And he rides
That's-
on
That's my
Snuffleupagus.
opinion. That's my opinion.
Well, here's an interesting question. Since the last few episodes, Boba Fett showed back up.
Stop.
oh,
Whoa,
great.
whoa.
Hashtag
We're not.
spoiler alert.
We are not.
Oh,
That's
you
a
spoiler.
ruined it,
It's
It's a
Beagle.
big
Beagle.
spoiler.
Stop
That's
it.
the same as Ahsoka.
Beagle, you're
No,
spoiling
no,
this for
it's not.
millions of our
Because
listeners.
the very idea of Boba Fett is like every Star Wars nerd's wet dream.
If you've looked
What
up
noise is
anything
that?
online,
Stop that noise.
No.
Now people are suing us because you ruined Star Wars for their.
Yeah.
You ruined
Who
their childhood.
would
We
win in a
can't-
fight,
we
Boba
can't use
Fett
this
or
episode
Mandalorian?
Boba Fett, obviously.
They wouldn't fight.
Well, let's talk about the
Why wouldn't
naming
they?
first.
This is the way, Beagle. It just wouldn't
Mandalorian.
happen.
Boba Fett is a Mandalorian.
Well,
Right. I'm saying they wouldn't fight.
Okay.
They wouldn't.
All right.
The answer to that question is
I now
no.
know who has seen the episodes and who has not. All right.
Well, that was just last week.
Well, the
so
one
correct.
that he fought was not. Anyway, so
we're
Let's
continuing to
stop,
ruin
let's
it
stop
for you.
this.
yeah.
Let's stop
And
this.
cut.
And let's go back. No, let's go back to the TV shows that have been listed. The Star Wars
yeah.
ones that I think are interesting are the Ahsoka movie, and then the
Wait.
which
Is that
set in the new
Sorry,
setting.
hold on. Ahsoka, is that a movie or a series? I thought that was a
Oh,
series.
probably a series. Probably
Yeah.
a series.
Are these are on Disney?
I think
Disney
all
Plus?
of these were series.
Yeah,
I
they're
believe
all
so,
serious
yes.
because Disney has to pull out the big guns, right? Because like half of their empire is shut down right now.
Right.
So
Clone
they need
Wars
to.
final
So
season.
Disney Plus is their media.
I thought all
that's
this
their
stuff was always coming out though, and they're just now saying like, wasn't there a Obi-Wan one that's
Obi-Wan
coming?
is coming
Well,
out. Yep.
Yeah.
And they've
That
got
was a while
Ewan
ago.
McGregor and they've got Hayden
Love
Christensen
you,
who's going to come.
McGregor.
Oh, that would be freaking awesome!
dream.
If
Yep.
they were like space talking to each other, like
Space Skype.
before Luke and all that. Meanwhile, Luke's like this little idiot.
So you're excited about
Baby Luke.
baby Luke.
I'm excited about Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
I think that the Rogue Squadron one could be pretty awesome. And then the Acolyte one, which is set in the new era of Star Wars, the High Republic, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Could be pretty
See,
awesome.
I'm not excited about the
Obi-Wan
High
Kenobi one as well.
Squadron. I just Top Gun is like the only flyer movie that's ever been done right, in my opinion.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Top Gun?
So the only part that I've watched is the volleyball
What?
scene.
It's a great documentary.
The volleyball
It's an
scene is the only
amazing
interesting part.
documentary.
Top Gun is
Tom Cruise,
amazing.
his personal life story is just amazing.
They've delayed the release of the next one.
Jeff
like
would
3
know
times.
as a Scientologist how amazing Tom Cruise's life has
So
been.
Yeah,
I
the
was
way
really
he can
excited.
slide
Wait,
into
wait,
the
wait.
room.
Have you guys not seen Top Gun?
Yeah,
Yes.
I haven't.
I've seen it.
of
You
course.
haven't seen Top Gun.
Because I love you.
You're a Scientologist who has not seen Top Gun.
Yeah, it's not exactly a prerequisite for being a Scientologist.
It
It's
should
just a
be.
movie.
You must watch every Tom Cruise movie.
No, but that should be a requirement.
I have an
That's
idea
one of my
for
favorite
Disney.
movies in my childhood.
Because it's Beagle's favorite movie, it should be a requirement for
It's
Scientology.
everybody's favorite childhood movie.
So
outside of Jurassic Park.
So I was really excited.
Never seen it.
I was really excited for this prequel, but then I found out they're doing all this China pandering bull crap in it.
What are
prequel.
you talking about?
in
For the sequel, I'm sorry.
the,
For
Top,
Top Gun?
Gun.
For Top Gun. So apparently they're changing like his jacket because it has a Taiwanese flag on it. so they're like changing history now because they want to pander to Chinese audiences.
How are they
They want
planning
them-
for
I'm
history?
super pissed about that kind of stuff. By
So
the way.
Top Gun as a sequel is like happening right now.
They've
the flying
released
the
industry is
sequel.
like going under fire jets and everything.
They've re-
because there's no need for it because of drones. We're at war with Taiwan. What are you? talking about?
No,
He's saying that,
China-
that
his original jacket has a flag of Taiwan on it.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise in Top Gun, the original. It
And China
was.
doesn't
Oh,
want
in
to
the
recognize
original.
It was in
Taiwan.
an early
Eagle, if
trailer.
this was your favorite movie, you'd know this.
Yeah.
That's just a weird factoid. I didn't.
Well,
I
if
didn't
you
notice.
knew about China, like,
But
I
he fought
do,
for
people.
America. So
But truth
it was
is,
the
Eagle-
suit was made in Taiwan.
No,
Eagles
he
just
had a
likes-
bunch of
he's saying
flags
that
on
they're-
it of there are a bunch of flags on there of allies.
Wait,
that he
Tom
had.
Cruise is Taiwanese?
Yes.
That's how this conversation feels
This
right
is
now.
the weirdest conversation.
Here you go, right here. Business
Eagle,
Insider. Looks like the new Top Gun bows to China's Communist Party by censoring Maverick's jacket.
So he had a flag that was a
WTF.
Taiwanese flag, and they're removing.
There they are, right there. You can see what.
what's
they've
the
done.
bottom right one?
The bottom right, I think, is Taiwan.
The
So
bottom
they're
left is Japan.
You're
Right.
meaning that they're censoring it in all
it's
new
not.
Top Gun of the original release, like any new.
No. In the new movie, they're
Top Gun
changing
2.
his jacket. He's wearing the same jacket, but they've changed.
But that
the
is
flag
a
on it.
picture of the original.
On the left is the
girl.
original.
So on the right is the new movie.
The new
that's
movie's on the
coming out.
right, and they changed the Japanese flag to be that pyramid thing,
Taiwanese.
Why'd they
Oh, yeah.
change Japan?
and then the Taiwanese flag.
So you're
As-
saying that China has a huge problem with Japan's flag and they infiltrated
Taiwan.
No, China.
Taiwan, sorry.
China hates
Right.
anything.
China
that-
hates Taiwan, so they went to Hollywood, or rather Hollywood, to appease the China market.
exactly.
Yes.
made this
Right.
change.
Yes.
You got
Yep.
it. We're all on the same
Yep.
page.
We
now.
want to play our movie in your country, and we don't care what kind of
But-
moral bending we need.
But
to
go
do
back
to
up
do
that picture. Why'd they change the Japanese flag?
I don't know.
Maybe there's other reasons
Well,
for the changing of the
I don't
flag,
think
and this
China
isn't
likes
Chinese
Japan either.
pandering.
Sequel to Top Gun, blah blah blah. Trailer for Eagle-eyed Twitter user pointed out that Maverick, whose entire character and name suggest a fierce independent, now wears a jacket that appears to changed. Blah blah blah. Maverick's old jacket had a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
weird. I heard that
If it's the same jacket, that's really weird.
I heard that in Rise of Skywalker, there's a kiss at the end from, I don't know if it's two guys or two girls.
It's
Star
two-
Wars
it's two
experts.
You
girls.
might-
can't make the decision if they're guys or girls, Beagle.
No, I just
two
don't
gays.
know.
They
if
haven't
they're
haven't
lesbians or
tweeted
if they're
their
gay.
pronouns
It's
yet,
those-
so
no,
we can't
here's
say.
what you have to
Two
do.
days.
You have to look up their Instagram bio and see if they identify as girls or if they identify as boys.
That's the thing is they haven't done that yet, so
the
we
other
can't
thing
say.
is I just don't care, I guess. But I've heard that it was a quick clip at the end to appease Americans that can easily be edited out when they send it to China
So
because the Chinese do not like gays.
So it sounds like these two new flags aren't real flags. So they're censoring
Yeah, I was
out.
gonna say, I don't
Japan's
recognize those
flag
flags.
Why Japan?
Question is, why are they
because
doing
Japan
it?
is an adversary of China.
I was
It's an
going to say
ally
because
of
that's
the US.
Japan's flag.
On the
Japan
first
is like
one,
more of an adversary of
Yeah,
China
that
than
one, but that
the
one
US.
isn't on the right.
So-
Right. But you guys kept saying Taiwan, and I was like,
Taiwan
So-
is there.
Chi-
so
They
it-
got rid of Taiwan.
Oh, so they got rid of both. Okay, I see.
So-
yeah, I was focusing on Japan.
So yeah, those are two countries that aren't China. I'm guessing because the only other ones on there are the U.S., which you can't change, and that's the UN,
UN,
flag.
yeah.
So are those? I'm wondering what those two on the bottom right are.
They're
So-
are
saying
those
they're nothing.
They're saying
Are
they're
those-
nothing. They're like
do
made
those
made-up
up.
flags.
are those like a shout out to some sort of Chinese something?
I think what
No,
they
they're
are
made
is they're
up.
like these kind of look like the old flag, like what was there before. So maybe people won't notice, but they're not enough of those things that China's going to get mad at.
Jeff,
us.
you're just jealous that you can't see what we're
We're
talking
so
about.
off track right now.
I'm just in this conversation. I'm just going to say this: if you're Chinese and you're bothered by seeing the Japan flag on an American
almost said it.
firefighter in a Hollywood movie, you've got fucking problems, man.
Well, it's
So
not.
I've been
It's
I
the
mean, you've got,
government.
like
It's
massive.
the Chinese
problems.
government. It's not the
Yeah, Beagle.
population.
Well, yeah. But either way, you've got. Problems.
I've been
They
thinking
do
a
have
lot.
They do.
problems.
Yes.
Jeff, what have you been
That's
thinking about?
So quit buying
But
their
let's-
boots.
What have you been thinking about,
Jeff?
Jeff?
That's
Jeff's
a
been thinking.
Oh, Jeff's been thinking
That's
about
a good
something.
Jeff's been
segue.
thinking.
Okay,
Well,
Jeff.
while you guys have been talking about Top Gun, I've been thinking a lot about how can we mix the Star Wars universe with Sesame Street. And I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
If we're talking about Bert and Ernie, what alien race would they belong to? Would they be Ewoks?
Ithorians.
Like, what would Bert and Ernie be in the Star Wars?
No, they're
universe?
Mandalorians.
Yeah, what alien?
Yeah, are they?
Well, they're human sized, so they wouldn't be Ewoks.
I think Big Bird would be that those things in the dark crystal.
No, that would be a Chewbacca, whatever that species.
But I have a
is called.
theory. I have
Big
a
Bird would
theory.
be a
that-
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I have a theory that
No.
Big
A
Bird.
Wookiee.
Why wouldn't
I have
he
an
be a
idea
Wookiee?
that Big
Because he's
Bird.
not a big. He's a bird.
He's like tall and fluffy.
But in the Star
Dangling.
Wars
Cuddly,
universe,
everyone wants to
I
cuddle.
bet
what
we-
is like Big Bird?
I bet we can find a bird species in the Star Wars universe.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing you guys have to understand is that Big Bird though is actually just normal sized human. Everyone thinks he's big, but per scale, like all the other people in Sesame Street are just actually really small.
He's taller than the
that's not
people.
true because Bert
you are
and
blowing my
Bert
mind right
and-
now.
Bert and
Yeah.
Ernie are normal human size, and they are much smaller than Big Bird.
No, Bert
That-
and
that's
Ernie-
just
Bert and
factually
Ernie are
incorrect.
no. Bert and Ernie
I
are
understand what
smaller.
you're
But
saying.
if you look at the
No,
guests,
you're saying they're midgets.
if you look at the when they
They
have
are
human
human
guests on
beings.
Sesame Street, Big Bird is way taller than them.
Listen, I think
Way
all of you
taller
are
than
avoiding
humans.
the question. All of you are avoiding the question.
no, I'm not.
What race would
Big
Bert and Ernie be part of? That's all I'm trying to figure out right
Right,
now.
they
already
would- they
said,
would just be
and
humans.
Everyone that
They would be
knows what they're
Jedis.
talking about thinks all of you look like idiots.
Mike, what was your answer?
Ithorians.
I
Oh,
don't.
Easy
of course.
peasy.
Toydarians.
Thanks,
I don't
Mike.
know what that is.
And Big Bird would be a Toydarian. Toydarian.
You're so funny.
Or a Minoc.
A
You're
Minoc.
a horrible speller.
Did you like that
You can-
Sesame?
You
Sesame?
cannot do this in the future.
Good thing no one can see how I spell.
All right. Well, that was a good segue from Top Gun to the next topic, which are gracious.
Look at that. Hillary
Friend.
Clinton's like a tiny little nothing compared
yes,
to that.
exactly.
monster.
She's a tiny little nothing
Big Bird
compared
is
to
not
everybody.
human sized. He's a freaking Wookiee. Or
Okay,
she.
moving on.
I don't know
He's
what Big Bird
definitely
is.
Oh
a
my
Wookiee.
gosh, he
We'll
is
just say they.
humongous.
They are huge.
Big Bird is a ginormous. All
They
right,
are,
Jeff,
yes.
you are introducing us to the next topic, which is the media.
They are you
Since
saying
we're
that
kind
about
of
Big
talking
Bird?
Yeah.
about the media.
He doesn't identify as he.
And how the media or Hollywood rather is hiding flags on Top Gun 2 to appease Chinese brings us to our next topic about
Slavery.
Donald Trump's speech being it was hard for you to find. Take it off.
Oh yeah,
Censorship?
yeah. This
Oops.
this was a little interesting. So
Classic
let me tell
flag.
you the quick story. So I was driving home and I heard on the radio, 570 KNRS. I was listening to the radio on the way home from work, and I heard them say, "Oh, Trump's giving some big speech today," and I was like, "Oh, cool." So I got home and I Googled on the Google Trump's speech today, and I couldn't find anything. And it took me a good 15 minutes to find a place where his speech was being broadcast, and the speech had everything to do with the voter fraud and all that jazz that was going on. But I personally found it very difficult to find, and I don't know if anyone else had that
I
experience.
think
So
it was
you
only
view-
aired real
you-
time on his Facebook page, if I remember correctly.
Interestingly enough,
You
it was
view that
not
as
being
media
aired live
censorship.
on the White House YouTube channel or on the White House website either.
Yeah, we
So-
looked for those. So there
So how could that possibly be media censorship?
That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making.
Right.
It wasn't just media censorship. It was also not being shown.
There
on
was
Well-
there was
their
no
own
media there.
Well,
so
the
that has something
really
to do
interesting
with
thing
it.
is, though, that Google, as Jeff's pointing out, typically picks up the algorithm, picks up news within minutes.
But none of the news agencies were covering it.
Well, there was nothing about it on Google, but there
Right.
were live streams going on that it was going. There were a couple news articles that said Trump did an impromptu thing today, but you couldn't find
As
the
far as I
video.
understood, it was impromptu.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
But even after people had said that, you still couldn't find the video. Like it was really
Yeah.
hard to find.
Yeah,
So that's the censorship. Is that
And
nobody
here's the thing.
recorded it and presented it.
because there was no. I mean, there was
let
no
me
like
clarify.
CNN, no news media there. So that does have something to do with it.
Let me
But-
clarify something. I could find all over the place that people were commentating and communicating about the speech, but I could not find the actual full 46-minute speech. I could find a news article about somebody talking about what you should think about what he's going to say, and I could find all kinds of information about what was happening or someone's commentation on what was happening, but I could not find the raw data.
Do you think that's more of a media problem or the way that Trump put it out without any media and being impromptu and everything like that?
Not even on the White House.
Who would you blame?
He's the president of the United States. Anything he puts out, and especially at the beginning of his speech when he says, "This is the most important speech that I have ever given."
Oh, is that what he said?
Yes.
Like that,
obviously he didn't listen to it, probably because it was hard to find.
No, for me, because I'm on Twitter a lot, it wasn't hard for me to find. But you
didn't watch it.
No, I don't watch. I pretty much have never watched a full thing that he's ever talked about, because within a few minutes, I'm just like, you're an idiot.
So why would you?
So I can
watch
tell you
something
that
else and have them tell you what to think.
No, that's not what I do.
So
within a minute, I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. There's no reason I should be listening to you.
So
I walk away.
I can tell you I had the same experience as Jeff, so typically if I Google something and like I pull up a video, sometimes if it's like a Republican leaning thing, I have to do a little tweaking, but this was like deep silence on Google, and I had to go to YouTube.
Why didn't like Fox News or Newsmax? Because conservatives have their own media outlets, right?
YouTube is Google.
But I have them all blocked. There's only like 4 of them, and they're all blocked.
You've
on my
blocked
thing.
all of the conservative media outlets?
Like Fox News and Breitbart.
Why do you block them?
Because I don't like them. Same reason I blocked CNN and New York
China.
Times and
China.
any really.
I've watched all the
what do you
news,
mean?
and I can't understand why I couldn't find the news article that I wanted to find.
That's true. It could be that actually.
You block them like in your Google.
So in
searches?
my
What do you
Google
mean?
account, but it actually keeps coming back. So if I go to Google,
like on your news feed, is that what
on
you
my
mean?
news feed? So,
I see.
So we can
But
probably
a
look
Google
up.
search is not a news feed.
So we can probably look up what I have blocked here.
That would be interesting.
It will be interesting, right? All you millions of listeners.
You better make this more interesting than it sounds.
I can't do it fast enough, but
Okay.
anyway, I go in here. I'll show you an example. So I'm on Google News, which I keep trying not to use because I do think it's terrible.
It's very left-leaning for sure.
But like, so I'll click on a story and it'll say Biden considering New York Governor Cuomo for Attorney General, Bloomberg. So if I click on that, actually it doesn't work on here. I have to do it on my PC, but there's usually a little, here it is. Hide all stories from Bloomberg. So I'll click that for like things like Fox News and
on
New
your
York
news
Times.
feed. Yes.
But it still ends up feeding those things to me if they're in the top news sometimes. And sometimes they just come back. And I've actually had to repeatedly block them.
Yeah, I mean, I've repeatedly blocked, like, I don't block Fox News, and I don't block, I block like things like Newsmax or OAN or something like that, like where it's clearly I'm just not going to listen to you. I don't value your view.
Like whenever I get a clickbait headline that's just like outrageous, I block that channel, that news organization.
But that's a news feed from Google is entirely different than a Google search.
Well,
So-
that's what he's saying is maybe.
So
that's why he didn't get any
I
results.
went like this. Trump
So could you find it?
speech December 2020.
I
He
searched
posted
Or did
the-
you look for it?
I searched
watched it
YouTube
live.
for it, and I had to scroll for like a few minutes to finally get down to
So it
something. that
goes
was-
through
It
like
was
a few pages.
either Phil or
infinite
Jeff
scrolling or
posted
whatever,
it
but
in
yeah.
Hangouts, the link to the actual live real time
And it
one,
was
and that's what I
and it was
watched.
from a really obscure source
And it was
too
on
that I found
Facebook.
on Google on YouTube.
Oh,
is where I
Jeff's is
found
on
it.
Facebook, I think.
And I actually had to find it by searching in YouTube, and I had to get on.
But if the
PC.
media wasn't there, then that's how the media would have. They would have had to find somebody who had a recording of it and paid them for their recording. Of it,
so
basically.
here's a perfect
because it wouldn't that media wouldn't have belonged to them if they weren't invited to do it.
So here's a perfect example. Do you know of are there any famous Democrats that you know that have gotten coronavirus and died from it?
My uncle.
Your uncle was
Well,
a
but
famous
famous.
He
Democrat.
was a Democrat, and he's famous in my family.
Okay.
Among
Fair
the left
enough.
bridges,
And
he's
God
he's
rest his
up
soul.
there.
That is an interesting thing that I've noticed, that a lot of Republicans get it and virtually no Democrats get it.
Yeah, and we obviously know that Democrats are also getting it and dying from it. But every time there was a Republican who was like, don't wear a mask or this or that, and they die, we know about that, like,
well, who was
huge news. Like,
who was famous that was a Republican who died?
Oh, I don't know. Some people that.
Well,
that
you're the one that's making this argument, though.
I'm just
the
saying,
only famous person that I know that's like political is Herman Cain. That's it.
Well, so there's a good example, Herman Cain.
Yeah.
There was like a pastor. Or
I do know
who,
that Chris Christie had it, and he went to the hospital, and when he came out, he was like, I was just
his
under a
body
ventilator for like 7 days, something like that. Dear God, please take this serious. This is a very serious illness. That was his response. And then obviously we all know what Trump's response was. Those are like the three most prominent political figures.
So
who have had
Republican,
bouts with it.
New Hampshire House Speaker dies of COVID-19. But let's just change that to, and it's really interesting because Google's actually listening to me too. So I wonder if that's actually changing their algorithm. But let's just change that to Democrat died from COVID and see what happens.
Yeah, the New
It
Hampshire
brings up
GOP.
New Hampshire GOP again. So that's not.
Well, but they might have Democrat in the
so
in the
it
article.
brought up the same person.
But Democrat might be in the article.
But it's not in the headline. Like
So just to explain like what Google is doing, Google is literally just saying, hey, here are the articles that most other people are looking for that are ballpark what you're putting in.
It is related to what you searched.
It's recent news. It's,
obviously, but if
it's what everyone
if
else
you
is
search
clicking on.
Democrat died from COVID and Republican died from COVID, and they bring up the same article.
Right,
but
because
the one is,
that literally just happened
the
like
one
today.
is obviously relevant.
Yesterday. New Hampshire GOP Governor Blas.
This is sorted by
So
latest,
in one
most recent
situation, Google got it the relevance 100% correct, and in the other, it got its relevance 100% incorrect. So that's
that's not how I would look at that.
So how would you look at it, Mike?
It's like if you search Democrats in Massachusetts,
Let's search
you'll
Democrat
get
on this page.
articles about Mitt Romney.
Are you just clicking? Are you just clicking? I'm feeling lucky, or like, are you not scrolling to look at the results? Like, what do you?
Yeah, this is weird.
So,
and this was not on our.
So I'm going to Google News and I'm typing Republican died from COVID. You can do it right now as a.
I mean, it's going to give you the things that it thinks are the most relevant. It's not necessarily saying we want to find an exact, factually
you're using this
perfect
as evidence
answer to your question.
As Google is against conservatives.
It's like Justin. It's like Beagle said. It could be the article says Republican Democrat in it.
So I wish there wasn't a pay block because I would really like to search that article right now and see if Democrat is actually even in there. Does anybody subscribe to NPR? Oh, that's a different one.
NPR, it's free. You wouldn't have to pay.
It's kind of
Democrat. Find. So the word Democrats is in the article.
Look at that.
That's
and that makes it just as relevant as the other one.
I think you're swinging
again
shadows here. Jeff,
Google is
it was hard for you to find.
I'm going to find a thing that's the most relevant to what Phil wants. Google is going to say, here's what's the most relevant to other people of your demographic, who are searching for.
This is the easiest thing in the world. Democrat leader dies as Missouri coronavirus cases top 900. Phil, that was took 3 seconds.
That was your top result?
Mike, that.
No, it wasn't my top result.
Fast typing.
Oh, it wasn't?
Well, that's the top result.
It's gonna
so Devin, what you
thinks are the most relevant.
So Devin, according to the remember that documentary that just came out with all these senior execs at all these companies? According to them, what you just said is not accurate at all. That Google is actually designed and tailored to the individual user.
That's what I said. And it's people of your demographic. It's trying to find what is going to be the most relevant to people of your demographic.
Right.
People it thinks are the most like you.
Right.
So that's what it's done. It didn't say, this is what Phil wants, so I'm going to give him exactly perfect. It's just saying,
if I look up something
somewhat,
if I look up hiking boots, right? I want to buy some hiking boots, right? And then immediately, or even an hour later, doesn't matter, I look up hiker dies, or something like that. it's going to tailor that algorithm and be like, well, are you looking for, it's going to understand and it's going to try to tailor specifically to what my searches.
Are you looking for where to bury a hiker?
I don't know why you guys are arguing. We
Exactly.
all agree that there's left-leaning bias in Google, right?
I disagree, actually.
You don't think there's any?
No.
I think there are.
It's not trying to make its money from Democrats, at least Google. YouTube, maybe. Mainstream media, I think that everybody has bias, right?
Dead horse.
Part of why you see more
Dead horse.
left-leaning articles on Google News is because there are more left-leaning media outlets than there are right-leaning.
No,
media
That's
outlets.
a
and
better
I
way
agree
of
with
putting
that,
it.
but
As far as like Google is trying to just make money, and they are going to try and tailor any way to you to make money.
But
right?
why is Google?
It doesn't care about whether you're left or right leaning.
But why is Google flawlessly execute and find everything you want unless what you want to find is Donald Trump giving a speech that day?
That one was weird. In general, that's not how it usually
I think it
works.
actually is.
Is there another
Not
example
for
of
me.
you having an issue finding something?
Not a specific example, but just like what I've pointed out now, a more generalized example
Right.
where sometimes you have to be really, really specific on the one side and not specific at all on the other.
And I just think that's
this is Jeff's category, and Jeff is vehemently a big thumbs down.
Jeff
on
should
this.
shut up.
Yeah,
over
shut
there.
up, Jeff.
I call
Yeah.
dead horse.
I just think
That makes half as a make your last point.
It
Devin,
has to
and
do
we'll move
with
on.
what Google thinks is most relevant and what Google thinks is going to keep you scrolling and keep you clicking on articles. It doesn't have to do with finding you the most accurate thing.
Okay, Phil, Zodiac Killer, give it to us.
So announced today was the broken cipher of the Zodiac Killer.
Use your real voice. Phil.
50 years prior. It has been ciphered by some dudes.
Did we hire a D-list actor?
The article that I saw about this said that it deciphered just saying send nudes. You're not right.
Send
Nobody sends things in the mail.
Send
Jeff. We
nudes
already
in
established that.
2020.
It was actually even crazier than that.
Send
Let
3
me-
nudes.
He actually said something to the effect of, "You guys will never find me, and I'm not afraid of anything you can do to me because of all the wives I've collected for the afterlife." Like it was like
servants.
Yeah, it was really wild because they think that he didn't
He's like a
believe
cult member? or
No,
something? Or
they don't think he
owns something?
believed those
Muslim?
things. They just think he's like trying to like rile people
Red
up or
herring.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, red herring.
Yep.
But they think
Weird.
the FBI has called it cracked or whatever. Finally, so it's
Yeah, that movie, the movie based on that. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I did not really care for that movie.
it was,
a
a long movie. I
So
liked
long.
it. It was really interesting. But
What movie? Zodiac Killer?
Zodiac,
Yeah, but
yeah.
Here's
Killer,
the thing:
Zodiac something.
certain movies, certain things do not go well on movies, and they do really well on the actual story. Because the actual story of the Zodiac Killer is amazing, but to Hollywoodize that, or whatever the term would be, to make that into a Hollywood blockbuster with Jake Spit on Your Dick Gyllenhaal or whatever his name is, like it's not. Yeah, you heard me.
Heath Ledger.
It's
Heath-
like
Heath Ledger
It's like
said that.
why are they making a Tiger King movie?
Wait, why did Heath
That's
Ledger
like-
Are they
say
really?
Yeah, with
Oh, that's
what's his
amazing.
name?
that?
Nicolas Cage.
It's-
Why did Heath Ledger say this?
He didn't, but
It
they
doesn't
were started
matter,
together
people. There's a
in
Tiger
Brokeback
King
Mountain.
movie.
That's probably what he's talking about.
Oh,
I was just playing.
But
along.
it's like,
I'm like piecing it all together now. You love Brokeback Mountain. Okay.
but why would you make a Tiger King movie? It's already
Because that'd be amazing.
No, it won't.
No,
it won't be nearly
won't
as
be
good.
as good as this.
It probably won't be as
Because
good
the
as the real thing.
the real story of
I
the
agree.
Tiger King.
Well, I get.
But Nicolas
shouldn't say that.
Cage is going to
You-
be the Tiger
I know.
King.
Have you guys seen I, Tonya?
No.
It's a movie, Margot
Yeah.
Robbie.
It was good. Yeah.
I have.
That
It was
movie
awesome.
is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's
so
really
good.
good. Yeah.
One of my
It's really
favorite
But
movies.
you saw it because it's Margot Robbie. I understand that.
Well, I actually saw it was when Amy was living down in St. George, and I spent all my nights just watching movies.
Margot Robbie movies, right?
I did realize how incredible of an actress Margot Robbie was in that.
She's good.
And I also realized, like, I feel bad for Tanya Harding. I not that I'm
Oh,
like
yeah.
on her side, but like how talented she was and the upbringing she had, and she could have easily been the greatest like of all time. And because of her upbringing and because of like her family and her boyfriend, husband, that just destroyed her. And that's freaking sad.
Wait, are we talking about Carol Baskins right now?
Yeah, Carol Baskin.
No,
Tanya Harding.
Talking about
Mike's text today.
the
maybe.
successful
Wow.
Carol. Well, I guess Carol Baskin might be more
Carol
successful
Baskin.
than Tanya Harding.
Carol Baskin killed her husband.
So
But anyways, I you could do
Whacked
a
it.
Tiger King movie,
I
right?
think you can do
But
it. With
but
Nicolas Cage,
I think
you can do it.
You would have to be I, Tanya, basically. You would have to be perfect.
Has Nicolas Cage ever done an accent in any movie?
No, it's literally going to be the Tiger King, but Nicolas Cage will be playing Nicolas Cage,
Right.
playing the
Give
Tiger
me
King.
those tigers!
Are they? Maybe they're trying to parody it though, like Sharknado or something.
I don't
and
know.
that could be
I'm
funny.
excited. I think it's going to be good.
It sounds really bad to me, but okay.
Beagle, quick question. How many more, and we can cut this out or don't, whatever. How many more topics do we have? Because I'm about at my
It's like 14 or
cutoff.
15, Mike.
If I have to edit anyway, if you talk a lot closer to this, you'll hear yourself more, and then you won't talk so loud. Because when you lean back, all you hear is this big echoey room. But if you lean nice and
I
close,
hear myself.
you hear
And
it a lot
also,
better.
look what
Oh my gosh!
happens.
Oh my gosh! It's tipping over.
Don't
My
tip
mic
it
is
over.
tipping
Look
over.
what happens to your mic stand when I move it closer.
Such a clean channel.
Jesus. Oh Lord! All right, there we go.
Anyway,
All right, we have Mike
Mike.
and inquiring minds. 3 more topics,
Okay.
Let's get to him.
and I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to
have
move us
5%
along.
left on my battery.
All right.
That's
Okay.
because you don't have an iPad.
You
like an
are
idiot.
not. You are not an expert on the conspiracy of Dems own the gun.
Oh yeah,
Industry.
Dems on the
You are not
guns.
an expert on media hiding Trump. Well, we already talked about
Why are
that.
you saying you are not an expert before those?
because I'm trying to get to a topic that maybe before his battery dies that he could give input on.
Oh,
Mike is
Mike
an
is not an
I
expert.
thought those were
gotcha.
his notes. He's
Yeah.
like, you are not an expert.
Jeff is none of
According
you
to my
are
notes-
experts on.
According to my notes, you guys.
None
are
of
all-
you are as smart as me.
What
And
a
so
stupid
actually,
suggestion.
we're at 2 topics because we've already talked about Time Magazine. So Dems own gun owner. Hit it, Jeff.
All right, Jeff.
what?
Dems.
All
Dems.
right, let me tell you my story.
Dems
I
own
went
them
Let's
to-
do it.
guns.
Yes.
I went to a local gun shop about 6 weeks ago, and I purchased a firearm. And while I was there, they told me that particular store in 3 months sold 11,000 guns.
Jesus.
11,000
That's a lot. Of
Wow.
in 3 months. And if anyone's local, they know it. Gunnies in Orem
Okay.
is the place that I went to.
Mhm.
11,000 guns in 3 months. That's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
And there are millions of first-time gun buyers.
Okay.
Here's my point.
Everyone's
Here's
afraid.
my point. If I were a business owner that was manufacturing guns, I would send a commission check to the Democrats that are running for office because they are the greatest gun salesmen ever. And so here's my theory.
But that was so
is-
3 months is leading up to the election, though. So there was no Democrat in office. When
Right.
did you say that
A lot
you
of people
bought it?
That's
thought
what I'm
they're
saying.
afraid
That's
of
what I'm
Biden
saying.
becoming president,
Just-
so they go out and buy
But
guns.
maybe they were afraid of Trump.
See, no.
Seems
Here's the thing.
unlikely.
Just the idea of a Democrat, just the idea of selling guns, just the idea of maybe something happening boosts the gun sales uncontrollably.
So
Here's my point. If I were to send a commission check to anyone, it would be to Joe Biden and to Kamala Harris because they sell more guns than anybody on this planet.
I will add to this just briefly. I have a neighbor who we have a Facebook group in our neighborhood, and he responded to a comment about Christmas trees or something. Oh no, toilet paper. Toilet paper. People were starting to get scared about COVID coming back up, and this person was like, "I can't find toilet paper." And anyways, this person responded and said, "Oh yeah, I don't know why people are scared of toilet paper. Like it's just COVID, blah blah blah. It's gonna be fine." Which I agreed with, right? Like it's stupid that people would buy toilet paper right now for a pandemic. But then he mentioned the only thing, and this was after Biden won. He mentioned the only thing that people should be buying right now, or
Biden hasn't won yet.
stocking up on is guns.
Ammo.
This is the same person whose flag is at half-mast still to this day since the election.
Yeah, he's dumb because that's not what you do.
Correct.
Half-mast is not.
But he's
not,
clearly scared that, I guess, me and my wife joke about it. He's clearly scared that a bunch of soy boys are going to come around and threaten him.
So you
Soy boys?
you don't like this.
You've never heard that
neighbor, do
term?
I don't think so.
Oh, I just think he's funny.
Oh,
he's silly to me.
you? You're just
Soy sauce?
you're just calling him out on national radio.
like soy
so
sauce.
He's gonna toilet paper your
I'm
house.
absolutely calling him out.
Okay.
It's stupid to put your flag at half-mast, and it's stupid to
I would
think
agree
that
with that.
somebody's coming for your guns. Obama, this scare happened for 8 years under Obama. Trump did more legislation against guns than Obama did.
So
So it's just freaking
Well, what
silly.
did Trump actually do against
Ban
guns?
bump stocks?
did he really?
So that's pretty
Yes.
minor, I think.
It is minor.
Well-
Obama did absolutely nothing.
That's not a minor
Yeah.
thing. That's something that actually never should have been legal. Like so, a bump stock.
No, I mean minor as far as like
To
things that would
curb-
scare people, like you're gonna
Right.
make guns illegal. That's a pretty minor thing. That's not gonna scare a bunch of people if Trump is making
people
bump stocks
people are
illegal.
pretty worked up
Correct.
about it
I
because
agree.
it's
But yeah, people are mad about.
people were worked
Trump.
up
Yeah,
because
people
a
worked
bump
up about
stock
it, but-
isn't technic. Well, the theory was a bump stock wasn't modifying your weapon into an automatic, which is BS. It really was because the weapon was shooting automatically. Doesn't
Yes.
really matter what you do to it to make that happen. So,
Right.
in my opinion, it never should have been legal in the first place. But there were a lot of gun advocates that were like, "Oh no, don't ban it or whatever." But I think that was a dumb argument. I didn't know that. He
So
had
you
banned
agree
them.
with banning automatic weapons, basically?
Well, automatic weapons are
fully automatic
already
weapons
banned.
are already banned. You
No.
have to have like a
Unless you
special
get a-
license.
you have to
in
have a
order
special
one.
license, correct?
Right, and that special license is not easy to get. Just in
And
case
no
anybody
one
thinks-
that commits a mass murder with a fully automatic
Correct.
weapon does not.
Which
have
is
that
why
type of
which is
license.
why my push for, when people talk about like cutting the magazines for guns, it's just like, no, just make it harder. You can acquire an automatic weapon, but the people who go on mass murders do not acquire it because they're too impulsive. They
Well-
do not have the patience to go through that process.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just make it harder to get guns, or at least certain guns, I think that's all you really need to do.
Well, first of all, rampagers, if we'll call them that, don't use automatic weapons,
Right.
Because they can't get them. So it's
Right.
kind of like kids getting
But that's
cigarettes.
my
Like,
point. You
yeah.
can get automatic the shooting in Nevada at the country rock concert. I
So-
forget the guy's name.
so I think
it
that
was
was-
with a legal gun. It was.
it
with
was
a-
an AR. I believe it was an AR-15, wasn't
So I think he had a bump
Yeah,
stock.
it was a bump.
He had a
stock,
bump
and
stock.
That's
Right.
why
it? Correct.
Trump
But
outlawed
in
the bump
Nevada, you can legally get a machine gun.
No,
stock. No, you
Yes, you
can't. I've
not without special
Not without
permits.
a
It's no
special
different
But
than any other.
that's the point that I'm making. If you make it hard to get certain weapons or to get certain things, like a bump stock, don't legalize it. Just make it unbelievably hard. Because most of these people, it seems to me, if it was legal for him to get a machine gun, but he went the easy route and
he didn't
got
get
a
a,
bump
he didn't
stock.
use a machine gun.
You got a bump
Correct.
stock.
He got
Yeah.
a bump stock. If you make it hard, these impulsive people will not go through that process. And even if they go on a murderous rampage, like the guy in Virginia, that the Virginia college used pistols, and he carried around a pillowcase full of magazines, obviously he can still do it. You can find ways, if you want to kill people, you can find ways to do it. But
you could use a pressure cooker.
You should make it harder to do it, is all.
So I disagree with the making these things harder equals like people not using those things as a mass murder tool. One of the most,
But
Notorious-
automatic machines, just like I said, Nevada proves, or at least is evidence of the fact that he could have legally gotten a machine gun, but
So-
he went the bump stock route.
so I think he probably could have done very close to as much damage without it though, just using a semi-automatic
right.
weapon.
So would he have done the same thing if it would have been as hard to get a bump stock as it was hard
So
to get a machine
he
gun?
could have done just like the terrorists in Boston. He could have bought a couple pressure cookers.
Well, yeah, he could have.
and
yeah,
dropped those out of the building and maybe even caused more damage doing that. So.
yeah.
No,
For sure.
because he was across the street.
Well, he could have gone to the
crowds were in-
concert. He could have.
I thought the
two
crowd
pressure
was right
cookers.
under the Delano.
It was
at
like
the,
across the
It
street.
was across.
It was
the
across
street.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he couldn't have thrown it if he tried. But,
Okay.
No.
But he could have gone to the concert and put them
Right.
in
He-
the concert and killed
Clearly, there's
twice as many people.
There's tons of ways to do mass
He could have driven a
destruction.
car into the concert.
Mass
or whatever.
destruction.
Right, but
But I agree that I don't think automatic weapons should be legal. I think semi-automatic weapons.
So you think Nevada in this particular case, you think that it should be impossible for somebody to get an automatic weapon?
No, because some people.
So you agree with the laws in place as they are, where it's just really hard to get an automatic weapon.
Yes.
When we say okay, so let's use the right terminology here. When you say automatic, you mean fully automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Pull the trigger once, multiple fires.
Correct.
Because for AR-15 is also automatic. It's semi-automatic.
Correct.
So each trigger pull is a
correct, a fully automatic
fully
weapon.
automatic.
Yeah. Honestly, I think as far as guns go, this is just my personal opinion. All guns should be legalized. It should be the more dangerous they are, the more mass destruction and quickly you can perform mass destruction, the harder it should be to get that weapon.
Okay,
but it should be legal.
I have a question for Beagle right now.
Sure.
When was the last time you shot a gun?
Probably in my teenage years.
Okay, and then what?
So
what
for the audience, the massive audience, that was 20 years ago.
Good question, Jeff.
Okay, what does AR stand for?
Automatic rifle.
So
okay.
AR
what is
right, Jeff?
Hold on. I want him to fail. I want him to fail miserably.
That's really stupid. Let's not do that.
You can make me you can try to make me fail. I will admit I do not know much about guns. I do know about logic though, and the harder, the quicker. Bye, love. I love you.
Bye, Mike.
Hi, Bolter.
Thanks for
the harder, the easier it is to commit mass murder or mass destruction, the harder it should be to acquire such a tool.
But here's my argument. Your theory is based off of Twitter opinion and not actual fact. AR does not stand for automatic rifle. It stands for Armor Light, which is a company that was actually
AR is Armor Light.
Armalite Rifle is the name of the company that manufactures.
It's just the name of a company.
AR is just the first two letters.
It's like Glock.
It doesn't really make sense.
Smith and Wesson.
Okay. You shot a gun 20 years ago. That was awesome. But
it was all right.
You would agree,
I wouldn't describe it as awesome.
Well, you would agree if you shot last week that a semi-automatic weapon is just as dangerous as an automatic weapon.
Into a crowd? I mean, that's just statistically false.
So
just statistically firing into a crowd, an automatic weapon is going to be able to deliver more bullets out than I can press my finger. Absolutely.
So based off your experience from 20 years ago when you
not my experience. I can listen. I've read articles. I can listen to experts, and I can also just look at the data and say, oh, if I hold my finger down and an automatic rifle can spit out more bullets than I can by pressing. This is studied data fact.
Yeah. And I know that the studied data that you read is totally non-biased.
So you think
hold on.
Right. But my question here, or I guess we're trying to get to is you think that you can press the trigger more than an automatic rifle can spit out bullets.
See, that's something that someone that doesn't know anything about guns would say. Let me tell you this. When you have an automatic rifle, the accuracy of that rifle goes down way low.
Yes,
it depends on your situation, right? A super crowded area.
But if you're in a crowded area, like in a country music concert that's outside from across the street, and you're just firing down into people, there's a reason why he bought a bump stock.
Which is not an automatic rifle, go on.
Correct, but he turned it into an automatic
rifle.
Yeah.
I look, I'll agree with you, Jeff. I do not know much about guns.
But you have a very strong opinion about it, which is pretty impressive to me.
No, actually, I don't have a strong opinion.
So
I have an opinion based on what I've read and just based on logic. I think it should be harder, just like in anything in life. It's harder I cannot walk into the DMV and just be like, hey, I want to drive a diesel today. Give me a goddamn license.
Can actually.
Can you say that word? Can you say the word harder one more time, please?
Beagle, you actually can go to the DMV and tell them you want to drive a diesel.
I can drive.
Well, you have to get it on your license first.
Jeffrey.
before
No,
can
you
do
don't.
it, right?
Jeffrey,
No, you don't.
you're
There's
being silly.
Volkswagen-
There's not a
there's-
Class D
I'm not-
license.
Mercedes
I'm
Mercedes
not
has
being
diesel
silly.
engines. Volkswagen.
I'm not being silly in the slightest. There's
No
Volkswagen
such thing
Rabbit.
as a Class D license. Is that
No.
what you're saying?
I'm not being. Let me communicate, please.
Okay.
There's a Volkswagen Rabbit, which is a 2-door vehicle that is a 3-cylinder diesel. You can buy that with a regular. You can
Jeff,
buy that and
But
drive that.
meet me
that was a
halfway. I
trick.
cannot.
That was
cannot,
a trick of language. Nobody thought you were talking about a vehicle that is powered by diesel fuel.
Right.
I thought you were talking about a
Big rig.
If
some
I-
big
I'm-
rig,
just-
obviously.
just
I
like an
cannot.
AR.
I
So
cannot
the trick-
go and just
That was a
get
trick.
a license.
That's not a good argument.
For
So-
whatever I want to drive whatever I want. I have to prove that I am familiar
So I'm-
with something.
wait.
And know how to use
Same
it.
way
right?
with firearms, though.
I'm going to segue.
That's how I think it should be.
I'm going to
That's how
segue
it
a little
is.
bit.
Right.
I'm gonna-
well,
In some
I'm gonna
cases,
correct.
I'm gonna segue a little bit because you guys are dumb.
Okay.
all right.
I just happened to notice because I was looking this up while you guys were doing this on Wikipedia. The deadliest mass shootings since 1949, so 70 years ago. It lists 28. 13 of those 28, so almost half,
Pistols, right?
were in this last decade.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So more than half of those shootings were very recent, and actually even
So you're
the
wanting to
majority of
segue
those-
into why is this happening now?
Yeah, why are people killing each other more now?
Well, this
Because
is
we're isolating more.
Because of
Social media.
coronavirus.
Yeah, social media, staying in your basement, not having the social cohesion that we
We're
once had.
raising idiots.
I think it more has to do with people who grew up back in the day. We talk a lot about like tribalism now. There was tribalism back then too. The difference is that tribalism was physical and communal, right? A group, you would feel valued by your community. You would kind of carry on those same values of your community, like Mormonism, whatever
So I'm saying
it is.
you got out and you were in your community and part of your community.
Right, and
back then.
you were valued by that community.
Yeah.
Whereas in
we're
now
not so
it's
much
it's
anymore.
much more digital. There's still tribes within that digital realm, but in that digital realm, it's a lot easier to pick fights, to troll, to whatever. Granted, I will say, as a caveat to what you just brought up, while the mass shootings have gone up, and deranged people, I guess, are more likely to do something that's mass destruction, right? Overall violence has definitely gone down.
No,
That's a solid argument.